Here we go. Part 2 coming up. Join live stream. Okay, here we are. We are here.
Okay.
Here.
And then we'll give everybody a second to join back in here. Let's see. I see late night chit chat. Maybe, okay, part 2. I'm going in. It says waiting for El Shaddai. Did you have to put in the new stream? El Shaddai. Oh.
I did. I had to put in the.
Did you have to put in the new stream? Oh, you know what? We're still in our other one.
Oh, good.
Yes. So we don't have to do the second
one. We're still oh, good. You're getting hit in the face.
I'm getting hit in the freak. So I'm going to go back to our other one. It just came right back online. Okay. I hear us talking and everything.
Oh, good. So it's the same one. It's not part.
Yeah. No.
Okay. So now I have part 2 up. So
okay. I'll. Yeah.
I'll just get rid of.
We can delete that one.
Part 2. We can get rid of part 2. Okay. How do I fix that? Just enter. Your internet connection is unstable. That's what it says. Okay.
Becca, I lost your chat. I lost your chat the other night. Okay. Well, just make sure you subscribe. And that way you won't lose me.
This is.
I can't type right. Make sure you subscribe.
Okay, so let me. So John can come in. Yeah, it's the same one. So you can tell to come on in.
Okay. John, come on in.
Are we live?
I'm checking.
Let's see here. We might be.
Here. Yeah, we're on.
Are we back on?
Might be. Yep, we're on. Here. Yep. Yeah, we're on. Wow, they did not like that talk.
Memory. I am going to download that and I'm going to get it out somehow, some way, because I remember reading that a few years ago and I totally forgot about it. That right there is good stuff, and thank you for sharing it. I am going to download it. I am, and I'm going to get it out somehow, some way.
Hi, Gulp. Welcome. I can't talk. Welcome back. Wow, YouTube did not like that, you guys. That was like...
No, they didn't. It was they have all this stuff. And do you remember how they said that Israel, it was something in Israel that they designed a system to monitor all this type of stuff.
Can you put the number in there for John again? He says it's not working.
Yeah. Let me go check and let me make sure. Is it asking for a password? Can you ask me if is it asking for a password here? Let me put it in. Okay, so I have 603.
You want me to type it as you say it, or are you putting it?
I'm putting it in.
Okay.
I'm a retard. I talk as I'm. Okay, 10.6.
I've been confused easily today. You really had me going earlier. I was really confused. I'm like, was it yesterday? I'm like, wait, what did I do? That's not Olive Branch. Wow.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. I had a stomach ache. And especially when I was looking at the lady's photos, and I'm thinking, she's probably thinking, who is that guy in that photo next to her?
Right.
Gosh, I was laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard.
That's crazy because now the stream is working just fine. But the minute you put that up, they pull us out.
Isn't that insane? And I haven't seen it at all. I haven't seen nothing. That is insane. And there's John. He's in.
Yay. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, I think we're here.
We're here as long as we don't bring up what we just brought up, or we'll be gone.
Okay. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll make sure not to bring it up, whatever it is.
Right. If I tell you, they'll kill me.
Okay. I didn't know you're James Bond.
Apparently so.
James Bond, yes. In fact, I even have a photo on Facebook where my face is in James Bond's body. It's like on top. And I
Yeah.
call 007. I'm a retard. Yeah.
Little Photoshop there, huh?
A little Photoshop. Nobody knows. They really think I am James Bond.
Well, would you mind getting me a picture with my face on and give me a really good looking body?
I will. I'll find you one. Oh, and there's some such funny ones, Elle. I will. I have so much fun with that app. I have so much fun.
Would you put me on a horse, please?
I will. I will.
In the nude.
Well, that one you might need to do. That one you might need to do.
Give me some real good looking knockers.
There you go.
I'll agree with that.
That would be hilarious. I'll put it up on the show as my picture.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And just give me a sword and a shield, nothing else.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That ought to get people talking.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
There goes that Amber again. Boy, let's talk about her. All right, let's get some attention over to this show.
Yeah, really. With our vast audience of 11 people.
Right. I mean, geez. Maybe we'll get some other people in here. Maybe we don't want those kind. I don't know.
Well, look at it this way. If we got up to about 15 people, we'd have the same size audience as CNN.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
I'm going to cry. We're actually doing worse than CNN right now. Oh, boy. We better pep this up, Olive. You better get your picture fixed, too.
What's wrong with my photo?
Well, we got to get in less of.
Folks don't want my face on there, man. They'll leave.
But that's why you're supposed to Photoshop us, man. I said Photoshop it and make it look good.
Photoshop it.
I want a hot pink bikini.
That's so funny. Well, like I put me on turkeys and stuff.
Well, that'll work, whatever floats people's boat.
Yeah, I'm a weird one. It's nice to meet you, John.
Oh, you're Olive Branch, right?
I am Olive Branch, yes.
Okay. Well, yes, I know you're on that. You were just kind of lurking the other time that I was on. So.
Yes, and I enjoyed listening to what you had to say. It was excellent stuff, John. It was excellent stuff.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And it's true because it's not every day that I run into somebody that knows what they're talking about. Right?
Well, that's the big thing for all of us here, that want to make sure and do things right. We need to know what we're talking about. And I tell you, even in the last year, I've improved a lot when it comes to this stuff. I wasn't half this good a year ago, but it's just kind of come to me.
Yeah. Well, you've done an amazing job, and you've definitely been blessed. You really,
The ways of the world have been opened to our eyes.
yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, a little bit too much of it sometimes.
Unfortunately, that's true. You got that right. I feel like if I could find it, our intro song to that. As the veil lifts, as the world turns. You guys remember that soap opera show like hell a long time ago? As the world turns.
Oh, as the world turns. No, I thought you were talking about X Files because of
No,
that noise.
it just reminded me when I was growing up. I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and my aunt would always watch As the World Turns. I never understood it. I was like, wow, that's not my show.
Oh my goodness, that's so.
Give me some Bugs Bunny and Roger Rabbit or whatever it is, and I was good to go. Some Smurfs.
There you go.
What happened to the good old days?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot more fun back then, that's for sure.
Yeah, but my hairstyle wasn't great in the 80s. That was wrong. So were my clothing. It was just wrong. It was all wrong.
All wrong. Oh my goodness, I had blue eyeshadow when I
Wow.
was in middle school. I had straight up blue eyeshadow, blue mascara, and my hair was in berets. I looked like a total retard, and I thought I was so cool.
That was the year of the LA Gear tennis shoes and spandex. And I was rocking it in pink.
I remember spandex very well.
Spandex. Oh my goodness. No, I never wore spandex. I wore the Skechers shoes and the big old bell bottom pants. Like the
Really?
pants. Yeah. I thought I was cool. Never wore spandex.
No, for me, I never wore spandex either. For me, it was all like it was all heavy metal. It was all like leather and studs and
There you go. There you
biker
go.
boots, that kind of stuff. Judas Priest type look.
Wow. I guess it's just me over the corner here with my spandex.
Can't get over. I still laugh at spandex. I do, Al. That is so funny. You wore spandex.
I did with my LA Gear jean jacket with the LA Gear and like the sparkles. I was in Northern California, so it was the LA Gear type of, Yeah,
That's
wow.
so funny.
We'll skip it. We'll skip on to the Nikes. That was okay in the 90s. That was cool.
Yeah. Well, Michael Jordan was popular enough then.
Right.
And
the hair got a little bit better.
Excellent memory. That sounds excellent.
So, what did you think, John? You said you wanted to talk about that. Was it the video I put out, or I found something about the E3?
Yeah, the E3, that's something kind of new that I hadn't come across yet. And that kind of caught my attention. And I've been hearing a lot of stories myself that Russia, China, the United States are all going to get together at some point. And it sounds like that's kind of happened.
Yeah, and in the Deadly Wound update by Pastor Murray, he states in there that China and Russia start the Deadly Wound rolling.
Yeah, well, it's hard to get everybody on board with some of these things, and I can understand, things happening or whatever causes this to happen. I mean, first of all, it's interesting to see that they're trying to find a political solution to the problem with Iran, because if you kind of think about it, Iran's always been that one thing in the back corner that nobody really wants to address.
Right.
It's like that's the last thing that needs to be fixed, and everybody's just kind of, avoiding it.
But we have no choice right now. Look what they're doing.
Yeah, I know. Something will have to be done there. I'm not sure what it's going to be. but they're going to do something, I'm sure.
Well, they're talking about making, because in the 2015 deal with Iran, Trump pulled us out of last year. And so now they're talking about making a new deal, nuclear deal with Iran, the UK, Germany, France. Oh, and boy, do I have something else to say before I'll remember here. But and Iran is kind of welcoming and saying, okay, let's go ahead and make a political peace deal. But this has to do with their nuclear deal. I don't think they're going to agree to that. They're big babies and they don't want to stop enriching. What is it called? It left my mind.
Uranium.
They're not going to stop doing that. I don't feel that they will. And if they do, it'll be very temporary that they agree to this. But at the same time that they're saying, okay, let's have this political, peaceful agreement, they're threatening Israel, saying, we have you surrounded on all four sides. Our missiles are pointed towards you. You're going to have to pick up the little bits and pieces of Tel Aviv at the bottom of the Mediterranean. Syria is saying the same thing. Abbas, the president of the Palestinian people, said we are waging a holy war against you. So at the same time, they're saying, let's have this peace agreement. We're going to kill you at the same time. How is that? I don't see anything coming out of that.
Well, it's not. I think what they're trying to do more than anything else is Iran is one of the few countries that doesn't have a central bank that's controlled by you know who.
Right.
And I think that's probably the main thing that they're going to try to do. So I think they'll just flood them with cash until they say yes, because they can afford to do that. So I think that's part of what they'll do. Now, whether or not Iran comes back and stabs them in the back afterwards, that's another story. Because they're certainly
definitely
doing that.
I definitely think that there's going to be something between Russia and China to get that ball rolling, that Putin's talking to Iran behind our backs and is going to get them and other countries possibly to pull out of that deal to where it crashes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it could. And these things are so hard to figure out because there's so much that we don't really know. There's what gets leaked here and there once in a while is fine, but we don't know all the finer details of what they're really doing, because it's just too hard to follow sometimes.
Well, and then before I forget, did you hear today that the EU is talking about imposing tariffs on the United States dealing with Boeing? They're like, we don't want to do this, but the United States for the last couple of years has been illegally something about money, and they're thinking about putting tariffs on the United States concerning Boeing.
Well, Boeing is one of the major exporters from the United States. People buy our planes from all over the place. So that would be huge if that happened. That would be a very big thing.
I don't see Trump reacting to that well.
No, I don't think so, because that's too many exports, and that would affect too much business around here.
Right. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it is. I mean, today I saw that the manufacturers were releasing a report that they just did, and their volume or whatever it was, I can't remember the exact details on it, was down the worst it's been in 10 years. So basically since 2009. We know how great things were in 2009.
Right.
It's like everything's just slowing down everywhere. And it's getting to the end game here financially. There's no doubt about it. I mean, people are maxed out on the credit cards, and it's just not a good situation. Who's going to be buying? I was hearing one other guy yesterday that was telling me that there's a company out there now. I can't remember the name of the website, but there's a company out there that actually does like layaway, and people are so maxed out on their credit cards now, they're turning to these layaway companies online to get like $100 to buy something, and they're actually putting on layaway for $100.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's how desperate things are getting.
Well, Saudi Arabia said that if Iran doesn't come to a political peace agreement, that a war will drive gas prices up so high that it'll make a global collapse.
Oh yeah. I mean, $10 gallon gas and it's game over.
Right. And that can happen overnight, like you said. I mean, like, bam.
Yeah. I mean, it could. We could see huge. They really need about $100 a barrel oil prices to really do what they want to do. The problem is that the demand is so weak right now, they can't pull it off. They can't make it work. So that's why even with that incident that happened at that refinery in Saudi Arabia, it spiked up one day, but then it's come right back down right afterwards.
And why is that?
Because the demand is so weak worldwide, because nobody has any money.
Right.
Nobody's traveling. Nobody's getting in the car and taking trips and, you know, doing things like they used to back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, I can't afford it. I know that.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably afford to do it if I wanted to, but it'd be better if I didn't. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm only 275 miles away from Las Vegas, so I mean, I can just drive up there in 5 hours and go up there for a couple of days and have some fun. But I don't go to California because it's just too crazy over there. But I do go to Vegas because I've worked there and I know a lot of people there.
Right. Yeah, I keep forgetting you're in Arizona. I was actually just up. I was born in Arizona, but I was just up in Flagstaff living about a year ago. I was living up in Flagstaff before I came back here. So we were going to make that our home. It just didn't work out.
Oh, okay. Well, it's tough when you live in these small towns. It really is.
Yeah.
You just don't have the opportunities, and it's hard to get any jobs that pay anything, and it's tough.
Yeah, it seems like it was a real tough spot right there, and the jobs were very low, money was low, people didn't have the money it takes to do what we do, and so we left. So that's that.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. I mean, it's just tough everywhere. I mean, a lot of the jobs just aren't paying anything, and jobs that used to be pretty good paying just aren't around anymore. And you know, who would want to be a car salesman right now? I mean, how many cars are you going to sell in a month?
Probably none.
Yeah, I mean,
unless they have a layaway plan, John.
Yeah, it's called 17% financing.
Or 25, 28. It gets pretty high.
Yeah, it gets pretty ridiculous. I mean, if you've got fantastic credit, you know, if you're 750 plus credit, then you can get some pretty good deals. But if you're anything short of that, they're going to stick it to you.
Right. That's that Kenite crap, the enslavement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
bondage.
The more debt free you are, the better, because then you're not as under their control by that. That's the only way to be.
And I heard something today that, and this was, now, I don't want people getting all crazy, and I feel that I have to explain myself because people seem to be a little touchy these days. I'm going to make a statement first. I do not believe in the rapture. I am not a rapture doctrine follower. You guys know I'm with Shepherd's Chapel. You know my beliefs, okay? Right. But Paul Bagley today put up something, and I couldn't really watch his whole show because I was busy doing something else. But he said we are on a global financial chaos breakdown, and that any minute it's snapping. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that. No, I wasn't aware of that particular show. I didn't know.
Yeah, any time that you have, just pop into Paul Bagley. He's got, and another thing I wanted to mention is that he's usually on all the time, and his news, John, is really great. I'm telling you, he's a great news reporter. His biblical knowledge is in the dumper. He's very unlearned. But his news is really great, and he posts a lot of good stuff. But I just wanted to find out what the heck the global chaos is. And he's basically saying, like, I feel like I'm going to wake up in the morning and everybody's going to be at a global financial collapse.
Well, it could happen that fast. I mean, that's what happened in 2008. All of a sudden, the repo financing and lending overnight just dried up because nobody wanted those worthless subprime loans that they're putting up as collateral. That's what caused it. So I mean, it happened really fast.
Right. What did you think about basically, I also heard today that gold really has no value, and it's basically oil that is your liquid gold. And I heard Pastor Mary say that before. And you were talking the other night, whoever has the most gold is in charge. Well, whoever has the most oil is the one who has the liquid gold's the one in charge. And since the dollar is backed up to petro, what if if Iran does decide not to join in this peace deal, political peace deal with the nuclear deal with the other countries in the E3, and it does go to a collapse with the oil and it shoots sky high, that's the dollar falling and everything else is connected to it. We will go flatline overnight.
Yeah, yeah, we will, because it might not be quite so overnight, but don't expect that to be much longer than a couple of weeks. Because if the gas prices go from, let's say, $60 a barrel, what it has been hanging around here for quite a while, around 60 or so, up or down a little bit, and then if it all of a sudden shoots up to 75, 100, 150, 200, 300, 400 like that, it's going to be just total chaos, economic chaos. You're going to see the stock market really take a big dive when that happens.
And that's like an instant thing, correct?
Oh yeah, it's like an instant tax on everybody. All of a sudden, if you have to go to work every day, and all of a sudden you're paying $8 a gallon for gas, and you have to drive back 2 hours back and forth to work every day, like some people do.
Poor California, they're basically almost already paying that. So.
Well, yeah, they're paying $4 plus in California right now. The other parts of the country, they're paying a little over $2, like $2.50.
Yeah,
I just filled up today, and it was about $3.30 a gallon for high octane. I always put a high octane in my cars.
Yeah, when we were traveling from Texas through California, I was actually paying $5 a gallon, and some places were over $5 a gallon, and this was a year ago.
Yeah, they did spike a little bit a year ago too. And I think they're down now to more in the $4 range, about $4.50 to $4.75 range, but still that's awfully high.
That's still horrifying.
Yeah, well, a lot of that is California taxes too. I think they got like almost $1 a gallon in taxes on there. They're very, very high.
Well, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Well, no, the only thing they know how to do is tax.
Right. That's the Democrat liberal. And unfortunately, I'm in a blue state too. We pay our gas right now, I think, is almost $4 a gallon.
Wow.
So we're having a hard time right now just at $4 a gallon. I mean, I put $20 in and I have an eighth of a tank. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disgusting.
Fortunately, I have a full-size truck with a 34-gallon tank. So if I have to kind of go low on the gas and spread it out over a while, I can, because most of the stores I shop at are quite close to me, so I don't have to drive a lot.
Right, and that's a situation we're in. And I think our tank, because it's a big truck, it's like 27 gallons. So, but to fill it up it's like almost $100 just to get that full tank.
Oh yeah, I usually let mine go down about a quarter tank, and then I usually top it off. Or a lot of times I'll just fill it up once a week, just to make sure I'm topped off all the time.
That's just insane. I'm just, a lot of us aren't in a position that if anything spikes higher than it is now, it's going to lay me out, is what it's going to do. Because like I stated before, we were doing really well until Hurricane Harvey hit. And since Harvey hit, we have been down on our face and can't quite get picked back up. We're working on it, and that was 2 years ago, but it knocked us out and took our home, our vehicles, my clothes, even my shoes. I mean, everything went floating down. So it was like restarting from the point of like having nothing to what we have now. And that's been a struggle in this economy.
Oh, it is. And it's tough for everybody. It's a difficult situation for a lot of people right now. I was a little lucky because my mom and I had bought a house, and at the low point back in about 2011, when the prices were at the lowest, back in about July of 2011, and then we turned around, we sold it for a nice little profit a few years later. So that helped us out quite a bit, and that made a big difference. But not everybody's going to be able to do things like that.
No. And we were actually making, we make anywhere. When I had my business, I owned a home care agency. I was bringing in over $500,000 a year, plus some. And then the other business we have was at least somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000 a year. But that's all changed. It's like, wow, you went from one good moment to what the hell is going on? And it affected our businesses because people didn't have the money to do it.
Right.
It's like everybody is holding on to their money, and we go to talk to our clients now and they're like, well, I really need to get this done, but I don't have the money. And this is what we're coming across. People don't have money.
Right.
Or room on their credit cards.
Yeah, they're tapped out.
Yeah.
what happens is they don't have enough money at first. Then they turn to the credit cards. Then they get in too deep with the credit cards, and then they're done.
Right.
And they have nothing left.
And that's what I'm seeing out there with our clients and stuff. They just don't have it. And they're taking their most important thing. Like our client the other day was like, well, I had to get my sewer system replaced. That's it for the year. And I live around very wealthy people. They might be Democrats, but they're very, very wealthy. And they've had this money for a long time. And for them to tell me that they don't have any money, I'm starting to get worried.
Right. Well, we bought a new house 3 years ago now, and the carpeting that was originally in there that they put in there was some real cheap junk that we just had to get rid of. And so we thought, when there's nothing in there, let's replace it, because it's just easier to do rather than have a bunch of furniture to move around and all that kind of hassle. So we had that done. I was talking to the guy that was the salesman for the carpet company, and I was asking him. I said, because here in the Phoenix area, there's $1 million homes all over the place. Okay, I mean, there are 5, 10, 15, $20 million homes out there. In fact, there's a home for $32 million on the market out here. And he actually told me that a lot of rich people are so tapped out because they're kind of faking it, in the first place, that they end up buying really cheap grades of carpeting for these $3 million homes because it takes everything they make just to barely make the illusion work. That's how crazy they are. It's nuts. It's nuts what people are doing.
I've also noticed, I read, it could have been yesterday. My days are kind of like meshing in together because I'm having a hard time sleeping. There's so much happening that my mind can't stop thinking and researching. And, I'm looking at multiple things, but Forever 21 has now gone bankrupt and they're closing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not a good thing for a lot of these malls, because a lot of these malls have Forever 21 stores in them.
Yes.
And so a lot of them, and they take up a lot of space, and that's not going to be good for business there. So a lot of retail space is going to be available. And then here's something else you might not be aware of. This company called WeWork. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all.
No, never heard of that.
Well, anyway, they're this kind of goofball unicorn company that was never designed to make a dollar. But the owner managed to cash out for $740 million before everything went downhill. And now what they were doing is they were basically leasing a bunch of like offices and retail space. And then they're kind of doing like an Uber type thing where you could rent this retail space for 2 weeks or for a month or something like that, or the office for a week or something like that, and doing it kind of Uber style. And they were going to go public. And they thought, well, this company is worth $25 billion, even though it's never made 1 penny in profit yet. But they thought, let's go ahead and do this. And then word got out that this company doesn't make any money, probably never will make any money. So then the price went down and went down and went down. They ended up pulling the IPO on that. So they are not going public at all. And they are now, they're saying that they're probably going to go out of business. And they have all these tied up contracts with all kinds of retail space and office space all around the country. And they're expecting that to have a massive impact on all that later on, because it's just collapsing right now.
Oh, no.
That could be a black swan event in the making that could trigger other things to happen.
Well, I feel it coming, and I see so many stores closing down. For example, we Googled a bead store. I make jewelry and necklaces and this and that for crafts and whatever. And I Googled a store that said they sold beads. So we go look for this place, and it said it was in a mall. And I'm thinking, okay, a mall shouldn't be hard to find, because sometimes Google's wrong and they have you driving off cliffs and don't turn left because you're going to die. So I kind of visualize it as I'm going, just to make sure Google's not trying to kill me. So here I'm looking for this mall. I couldn't find it. I find this, what appeared to be an abandoned building, a huge building, no cars, no signs. And I call the store and I said, I can't find you. I said, it says you're in a mall. And they're like, well, if you see a cinema sign, which I did see, you're in the right spot. I'm like, wow, there's nobody here. So we enter this mall, there was about 3 food stands, 1 cinema, and about 3 shops in the whole mall. Everything else was closed down. And these shops weren't your regular shops. They were like secondhand stores, no big shops, no shoe stores. I mean, nothing. It was almost like walking into like Weirdoville. Like I was like taken back, like this is not right.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a dream. They were all closed down and empty in a mall.
Yes. Well, we have 2 of them here in the Phoenix area that are exactly like what you just described.
Like
There's
ghost
one,
towns.
yeah, they're ghost towns. There's one called Metro Center. And
Oh, I know where that is.
yeah. And Metro Center, when it first opened up, was actually kind of a hip place. People liked it. It was
Right.
kind of upscale and they had some nice stores there. Now that area has gotten kind of bad. Okay. So it's not the best area of town. And so now all the stores have pulled out because there's so much trouble with gangs and, you know, uh, theft and all that kind of stuff going on. And so now that whole mall is anchored by a Walmart. That's it.
No.
It's just a Walmart in there. And I think there's like maybe a Nordstrom's, like not secondhand, but like a Nordstrom's discount rack of some sort. I don't know what they call it.
Nordstrom rack.
Yeah, Nordstrom rack, I believe. And that's all that's really there. The rest of it is just hardly anything at all. And I've seen videos of it. And I drive by it every so often, and I never stop there. And I never stop by there because it's just not such a hot part of town. You don't really want to go there too much.
Wow. Yeah. See, and that's creepy. And I mean, I see this economy around us falling. I feel it in my own pocketbook. I feel it for small business owners like we are. And it's really starting to cause hardships to where, you know, I'm having to stretch my food out, or I'm having to come up with new ideas. I'm having to really learn to love oatmeal and top ramen already. I mean, I'm already at this point because business for us has come to an almost complete stop.
Yeah.
And we've had to bring our prices down so much that the cost ratio for what it costs us to do business almost doesn't make up for what we're getting paid for, because if we don't take the job or we don't take the client, it's like we're not going to have any work. So we're making pennies on the dollar for what it costs us in business to do what we do, and
Right.
we're not making much revenue, but we don't have a choice. So wow, what's going on here? And it's really scaring me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's getting like that. I mean, one of the things I did is had, I always like to have a good supply of food on hand, and I've managed to do that because most of the stuff I need I already have.
Right.
So my grocery bills are very, very minimal, and it makes life a whole lot easier right now. And then when things go down a little bit, I just try to I just try to stock up a little bit afterwards, you know, so I'm not going down that much. So that's what I
Right.
try to do.
Well, the funny thing, it's not funny, but I had went out and I probably spent a good couple $1,000s on reserve food, you know, like that stuff whatever it's called that you wet and then it comes back to life. But unfortunately, during the flood, we had to eat what we had, and then some of it got wet. So I lost my stash that I was working on for a couple of years. We
Mm.
either had to eat it or I lost it in the hurricane. I was like, really?
Yeah, that's just bad luck. That's very bad luck.
It was bad luck. And I felt like my girl Olive, she's funny because she'll say, you know, well, it's another bowling ball hitting you in the face. I'm like, well, that one hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's not going to be that's not going to be easy.
No, it's not, and I can't recoup that at the moment. God, you know, willing, God bless, you know, hopefully that will happen. But at this point, I'm already at that survival mode, and I'm thinking, boy, you know, I mean, I wanted to ask you something. If you pay attention now, Olive, are you there? Because I want you to jump in on this because you were talking to me about this earlier. If you're there,
I'm right
but
here.
okay, I want you to mention what you said again about you like to watch the what did you call them? The lunars or
Yeah, I
the
like to watch the lunars because they know more. They're going to have more of an idea, and I forget exactly how I put it. I forget
Well,
exactly how
I'll
I put it.
because I'll start it off and then you'll know exactly what you're talking about. I'm watching a lot of our false churches, and she calls them the Lunars, which I love that, because they are all getting ready, John, to fly away. They're like, we're leaving in a couple days. This is ready. Get your stuff together because Jesus is coming and we're going to fly away. It's not just one church. It's not just, I mean, they all
Oh, yeah.
are getting ready to fly. And then she mentioned, now you know where you're at, Olive?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, and you said it even better than I did when I told you. That was really good. No, that's exactly right. That is exactly right.
They're going to know when their father's showing up.
Yeah, and the Kenites are another ones of the Lunars that I really like to keep my eyes on, because that's the small group, or the small mountain. I forget exactly what that verse says that Satan's going to enter in with. So they will know, and my guess that they will know even before the two witnesses warn us, because Satan's working behind the scenes. He's doing stuff. So we know that we get a 10-day warning from the two witnesses. So that's my opinion, that they will definitely know before we even get a warning from the two witnesses.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering why. I mean, we know that they're misled and unlearned, but why are they so ready and they're feeling that their Jesus is coming, which we know is Lucifer. I mean, it's a very intense feeling around the world, and people aren't disputing that the fact that we know as Lucifer, they know as Jesus, is going to be here very, very shortly.
Most definitely. Yeah,
There's no dispute about this.
yeah, there's no that there is none. There
Even between the unlearned, everybody is agreeing on this.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that too, because I'm a member of I don't know how this happened, but somebody put me in some Bible prophecy group thing on Facebook. I'm not even sure how I got in there. And it's just full of rapture people. And some of the stuff that I see there just makes my mouth drop to the floor. I mean, I just can't believe what I read sometimes. And it's almost shocking to me. It's like, man, these people are just being led to the slaughter.
They are, but isn't it weird how like everybody is at that point where I'm expecting at any moment, they're expecting at any moment, and it's like nobody's disputing the fact that that's the time that we're in. The only thing we're disputing is that we know it's Lucifer and they think it's Jesus. But it's like everybody is like any day now this is going to happen. And I really feel that way, not just to mention the global system, not just to mention that Israel has stated we are surrounded, not to mention that Iran says we have you surrounded. So it's like, hello, there's your second witness to that. They're agreeing what Israel's saying. And we know in Luke 21:20, when you shall see Jerusalem encompassed, surrounded by its enemies, you know that Lucifer is at the door. Nobody's disputing this fact.
Yeah, everybody seems to be in agreement. In fact, I even saw some people posting dates that they thought that the rapture was going to occur between September 29th and October 1st.
Yeah, because they thought it was going to happen just like the Jews in Israel, or the quote unquote. They were saying during Rosh Hashanah that he was supposed to come in and go behind the scenes and then show up visually later. Even like Paul Bagley in his church said during Rosh Hashanah we could be taken up. Well, right, we'd have clothes laying in the street, and then it's just funny because something will happen on his show and you this whole time. So you best, as Pastor Murray puts it, but at least they have a chance.
Yeah, that's one of the tough.
offline. I wonder what is going on.
I'm not sure. I've been seeing the circle just spin the entire time, but it does say that it's been on, still showing us on my end here.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm going to go back into it and see. They keep taking us off. So I show that it says live stream offline. I would just try to reconnect it on OBS.
A while for it to
Right,
pop
to
up
catch
here.
up.
I'm
'Cause
trying to even see the chat, and I can't even see the chat on my phone.
Oh, the chat's been working fine on my end. I've been able to see it the whole time.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to ask if they can hear us. Boy, they just keep taking us off. You know, we're
I have
not the only
cable internet. I mean, this is ridiculous.
This isn't the only people it's happening to. Paul Bagley had to go onto his backup channel because they took him off today too.
And Diana says she can hear us. I'm looking
It says we're off
the video, and Memory says nope, that you're offline. I can hear you on my phone, but not on.
I would just reconnect it.
Okay, hold on, everybody.
Okay.
Oh, Diana says I hear you. Gulp says no. And mine shows offline. Let's just cast out Lucifer. I command you in the name of Yeshua Messiah, Lucifer, to get out of here.
There you go.
That's the way to do it.
Get behind us, you foul fiend. Hurry, Olive, put olive oil on the computer.
You know, I'm going to have to. Let me get out and get back in. Let's see what's going on. And I even ended it, and it came back on. But now it says that live stream is still offline, and it says that I'm online. So
we had 10 people and they cut us out.
Yeah, now we're down. It says 5 watching.